welcome to my channel. The name I go by is Ghost in Your Dreams. I will explain more about this in a minute. First, I want to explain why I chose to wear a mask. My mask is worn to protect my identity. I go by the Ghost in Your Dreams because I haunt the people who have abused me. I'm 29 years old and I'm hoping to help others survive being abused. At birth, my life sucked. I was adopted at the age of 2 years old with my 2-month-old half-brother. The family who adopted us only wanted my white brother. I'm not racist, but I'm not white either. My mother made sure that I remembered this. At the age of 7 years old and 6 years old, my brother started molesting me in our room. This escalated to rape when he was 8 and I was 9. This lasted till I was 17 and ran away from home. I survived by shutting down and learning to turn all of the abuse into turn-ons. This did screw me up a lot, and most can't understand why this happened to me. It is hard on me some days, but I have a best friend and boyfriend who understands me. As the abuse got worse, so did his rage. He would choke me, hit me, and kick me till he got what he wanted. He choked till I blacked out once. He thought I was dead. My parents knew he was abusing me most of the time. Mom was physically and mentally abusing me, so she joined in. Dad never helped. Too scared to say anything, I took it all for 10 years. I learned to cope by ordering free things online, writing letters to people, going to school. I'm in college right now, ordering puzzle books, fill-ins, word search, variety packs. I print out mandalas and more. Getting mail makes me excited too. Just because you're abused doesn't mean that you're alone. Being alone sucks. Feeling alone sucks. And when you're going through things, you will feel by yourself. But you're not. You still have other things you can do. Learning to cope is something that not all people have been taught how to do. I used to be in counseling and I don't go anymore. I learned how to help myself by not having to rely on everybody and to learn that this isn't my fault. It's not your fault to be abused. It's not your fault that this has happened to you. And it's not your fault that people just can't seem to grasp it. Most counselors looked at me when I told them that my brother was younger than me and told me that that was impossible and he never did it. There was no way that it could have happened to me. Not by him. But I met a counselor once who told me that just because others don't believe you or can grasp the situation doesn't mean that you have to feel like you're by yourself. I learned that the being mentally abused, I learned that I could save myself. And a lot of people, after hearing what I've gone through, have told me that they thought that if I would have gone through all of this, suicide would have been a good option for me. But I never, the thoughts were there, but I never did it. I didn't feel like that was the easy way out for me. And knowing that people didn't care about me growing up from the time I was 17 to the time I was, from the time I was young to 17, after I learned what I learned from my brother, the abuse didn't stop with just that. It lasted until the sexual abuse lasted till I was at least 23, 24, maybe 24. The mental abuse lasted me until now. I'm still mentally abused pretty much any time I want to talk to my kids. I don't see them. I have 2 little girls who are 6 and 7. I had them when I was 20. I think I had one when I was 23 and one when I was 24. I don't see them because the grandparents are very abusive to me mentally. course, they think there's nothing wrong with it, but I think that there's something wrong with it. My youngest is autistic as well as me. She is my pride and joy. The last time I saw her was a year ago. The last time I saw my 7-year-old was, I believe, 2 years ago now, because Grandma thought, oh yeah, I can just say you can't see them. I did have full custody of my youngest, but I gave custody to her dad because I couldn't handle the abuse. Being told that you're a bad parent and that you should never have kids, it weighs on you a lot. And I thought that I could, because I didn't have a mom or anything, or a dad, I thought that I could just use them as my parental figures. Well, apparently, little did anyone tell me, adults can be very vicious. And even when they're being vicious, I was able to hang on until they said that I wasn't going to be able to have them anymore. I'm 29 now, and how I get through everything that I've gone through is I write letters to people, and people who have companies, big companies, they tell you that they understand you. There's a lot of companies that will write you back on email and say, you know, you're really strong for what you've done, and a lot of them are really nice. I've been getting free stuff through the mail, shockingly I know. I have learned that throughout my life that just because you live as hurt as you are, as you write your letters, your pain goes with, a little part of you goes with that letter. You don't just write to people and say, oh yeah, well, I had this happen and blah blah. You write them, and like, for instance, I've been writing places for school supplies because I'm on SSI because of my disability. My disability is really hard on me sometimes. And being on SSI, if you're on SSI, you know that you only get $735 a month. And it sucks. So, I have learned that my option is, instead of living like rich people and going out and spending all your money at once and learning that you are on a budget, your budget is very crucial. And when you need something, like say school supplies for college, like I did, or do, or whatever, I wrote companies and they send things to your house. I have gotten 5 pounds of pens just in this last year alone. I've gotten 5-pound boxes of pencils. I have gotten chapstick, you name it. Anything that you think you want that you can't seem to afford doesn't mean that you can't have it. School supplies are cheap for some, but for others, they're really hard to come by. And for me, it was, I not only needed it, but I wanted it. I wanted the school supplies because if they were free, why wouldn't you just go get them? The other things that I've learned to do with a very small budget that helped me cope with everything is I have learned to go on a site called Wish. If any of you know or heard of it, it's a really good site that helps you get things that are on Amazon for $60 for something, I don't know, you name something and it's probably on Wish for $3. But there's also things on there for $1 that you can order. And it saves you money by doing it. And I also have learned recently that we got snowed in this year, and we were really worried about going to the store because we don't have a car. and buying food. So what I ended up doing was looking online for stores that would deliver. Well, recently, not everyone knows this, but Schwann's will deliver to you. And you can use your food stamp card for Schwann's. It says that you have cash taxes, but because it's on food stamps, when they come to your door, it's not, the cash is taken off for the delivery fee. I have been able to, okay, it went blank. That was
still recording.
I have also been able to order puzzle books. Normally when you go to the store, like say you go to Walmart or you go to Barnes & Noble. Barnes & Noble has puzzle books that you can learn how to do. Word searches are easy for most people. Crosswords are very hard for me still. I do not like them. They frustrate me. So I have learned this new puzzle it's called a fill-in puzzle, and I'm able to do that versus a crossword. They're the same thing basically, but they give you the words. I order 40 books for $31 from Penny Books or Penny Dell Books or something.com, and I also have found 2 sites that I can print out. Every day I print out 2 fill-in paper sheets that I can do, and I have been collecting puzzles through printing. I've been collecting coloring mandalas and coloring pages for printing. These things keep me busy, and it helps my mind. The other thing that you can do is, if you have issues, like I used to bite my nails all the time, and it was a stress thing and a coping mechanism that I did. I had learned that if I bit my nails down to the point of bleeding, it released something in my head. Well, I recently, probably about 6 months ago, something like that, I recently just one day stopped biting them. It was amazing because that was a big deal, and I would always bleed, cause myself harm by doing it, but nobody would do anything about it except for tell me not to do it. So I learned that if you go there's other ways you can release something in your head that helps you. I believe it's called an endorphin, but I'm not sure. I just know that after it's released, I know that everything's okay. I have also learned to sort these things I get from Wish. I get these fruit, and they're for your nails, supposed to be for your nails, but I use them for sorting, and you get them for $1. You get 1,000 of them in one bag. They're all mixed up, so you have apples, and you have leaves and flowers and stuff that, other people would say, well, what are you doing? Why are you doing that? But for me, daily, I normally sort them maybe once a day, sometimes it takes me 5 times. But these little things that I do help me to manage. There was a time where last year when I made the decision to give my daughter to her dad because I didn't have a car and she was abusing me, and I don't know about you guys, but a 5-year-old who hits you, it just brings up a lot, and it hurts me to no end that she was doing it. So it was the worst choice that I had to make for myself for the safety of me. But my girlfriend asks me sometimes, how can you do that? How could you make that decision? Or how could you leave your daughter and not see her anymore? Well, I was able to do it because it was a safety issue. My daughter, when she grows up and she's old enough, she will come home. Both of my kids, I strongly believe, will come home. And I can explain this to them and say, look, your mommy did this because. And I may not tell them that it was because they hurt me, but I will tell them that their dad and his parents and their grandparents were very vicious to me and very mean. Mental abuse is not something to take lightly. And a lot of people do. A lot of people, when you tell them that somebody is mentally abusing you, they look at you and go, okay, there's nothing I can do. People say all the time that they're there to help you, and because I'm disabled, people should have been helping me, but they didn't. They let this happen to me. I asked a cop for help. He didn't give a crap. He just let it keep going. And then to have no one look at you and go, oh, you need help because you have bruises all over you. You have bruises. You carry these things with you constantly. And people can't, just because people can't see them, it doesn't mean that they're not there. They're always going to be there. It's for you to choose what people think or how you portray or how you use this to your advantage. If you can turn this into a good thing, then it helps. You have to accept that it's okay. It's okay. It's not okay, but it's okay because you survived. Being a survivor of abuse is the hardest thing you can do. I think it was this big weight was lifted off my shoulders once I learned that you can do so much more than be a victim. Being a victim is not okay. But some people can't help it. Some people, it just goes on and on and on and on. But there are very few of us that can help the others and help them see you don't have to be alone. And we aren't alone. There's lots of us who have it. And mental abuse, it's just, I feel that it's worse than physical abuse because mentally my mom broke me down and she adopted me. She was supposed to love me. She broke me down until I was nothing. And then when things came up and I thought, I ran away from home at 17 and I went back to my mom's house and saw my dad and my brother after I gave birth to my first child. And my mom looked at her and said, this isn't a child of my family. And she rejected my child. She adopted me and rejected my daughter. And after that, I was just like, no, you're not ever going to see your grandkids anymore. Not from me. Because for me to be abused through her is one thing. But for her to reject my child, who's little and doesn't even know what's going on, isn't okay. And that just proved the point that my parents don't care. My dad was right there when she said it, and I walked out the house and left. Because I wasn't having it. And ever since then, there's sometimes when I want to see my dad sometimes, but I wouldn't go. I won't, because he's evil and vindictive. He's just as bad as my mom, if not worse, because he knew everything that was going on and didn't help me. And when my brother stabbed me in the back of the leg or choked me till I passed out, my dad knew everything that was going on. My best friend's mom had to come get me the day my brother stabbed me in the back of the leg with a pencil. Because I was on the phone with her daughter, and I screamed, and she got in her car, she lived 3 blocks away, and came to the house, knocked on the door, and I still had the pencil in my leg. She took me to her house, and I lived with her for 2 months. There were many times where people should have stepped in and didn't. And now, mentally, I'm always going to be screwed up mentally. I'm always going to think that someone should have helped me, and I'm always going to feel like nobody's going to give a crap. But at the same time, I feel like being okay with myself is enough for me right now, because I survived it. I survived all of it. I survived. It's not like when you survive on an airplane, or, oh, you survived being hit by a car, it's a lot more than just that. It's surviving for yourself. And that's how I look at it. I go to school every day, and how I do that is I go to school for $25 a month. So school is is very tricky for me sometimes. School, I do it online, and that makes it so that I can do it anytime during the day I want. I have 4 weeks for each class that I'm in. I do pay for it through SSI. I'm learning to try and get, I'm doing school to try and get off my SSI and get a job, because I don't feel SSI gives you enough money to live off of, because we all know it's true. I mean, come on. School, I've been in school for 9 months now. I'm enrolled in this, school, and the dean knows of my disability. And yes, I know, I've said I'm disabled and not told you what it is. I'm disabled, and I was diagnosed with fetal alcohol syndrome, but recently it has come to everybody's attention that I'm too smart to have FAS. So apparently we being me and people I live with and my doctors and my roommate's mom thinks that I have Asperger's syndrome, which wouldn't be too far from how I manage. I can tell you everything about anything you ask me. For the most part, I'm really smart. I do things on my own most days. I get stressed out when it comes to dealing with talking to my daughters, or daughter right now. I have two, but I only was able to talk to one of them, and that was not very good. The dad's being a total dick. Anyway, so I do get frustrated. I do have anxiety attacks. I do have panic attacks. The way I use everything around me to cope with it. And my goal to help you with my videos is to show you the different things I've gotten for free, the different things that I do during the day, the different things that help me cope. Because I've never cut myself. I've never tried to commit suicide. Although I was told one time I took a pill in the ER. I remember taking the pill in the ER, and they said it was for nausea. And I don't know what happened exactly, because I wasn't present at the time when we got home. I was told that I had grabbed a knife, something happened, and I don't know the whole story, really. I just know what I've been told. But my best friend took the knife from me and made me sit in the living room, apparently, until I was back to normal. Somehow, that pill that I took, that the ER gave me for nausea, interfered with something in my head, and it made me suicidal, apparently. So I guess there's one time I've been suicidal, but it wasn't my fault. It was more so on a pill. I've never been able to take that pill again. Apparently, I'm allergic to it. So I've been told. And any other thing that I've done, for the most part, I handle my life pretty well. I do like things done certain ways around me. In my bedroom, I have certain things that have to be certain ways in my room so that I can reach to them because they're mine and not anyone else's. I set up, in my room, there's puzzle books, there's pens and pencils, there's candy, obviously, clearly, because candy is always good to have on hand. There's my laptop for school, and I have a laptop for the TV, and I normally choose what I watch on the TV, on the laptop, because I can pretty much control the TV for the most part. I have been known to freak out at during blackouts, which obviously blackouts are really bad. I'm scared of the vacuum cleaner. Not proud of it, but I am scared of the vacuum cleaner. Um, but all these little things don't measure up to what, you know, life is. Life is fun, and you have to find your own thing, you know. For instance, if you like Legos, okay, you build Legos, you play with Legos, you're an adult, but you still play with them, or want to play with them. That's not a big deal. It's when they get expensive. So what you would do is, if you've been abused, normally that's what happens, you write the Lego company, the actual Lego company, the people who actually make Legos, and you tell them what you've gone through. Sometimes it's better to write the people, certain people during, during Christmas. During Christmas, a lot of people will give you whatever you ask, you know. There's been a couple times during Christmas I've written Crayola, and they gave me a huge box for my daughter. There's been a lot of things I've gotten from Rose Art from Christmas, because trust me, having Christmas and having a toddler and with autism and having to pay for everything, really hard. Paying for a lot of things is really hard sometimes. And a lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people who are rich and billionaires and they can afford whatever the hell they want, they don't understand what it's like to have $735 a month to your name. And right now, I pay for a one-bedroom apartment, and I do not drive. I'm too scared to drive. Of course, I could be too cheap to drive too, but you know, it varies on me. I tend to be very selective of what is going on. I don't go out very often anymore. I used to, but I don't want negative people to look at me and think that something's wrong with me all the time, so I tend to stay in the house for the most part. There's certain things that I used to love to go do, but it's just different when you change something about your life. Different things change, and you do things that normally you wouldn't. Well, I've learned to live within the means and to stay in the house because it's safest. But anyway, I hope you guys are able to watch my videos, and I'm hoping to post maybe 2 or 3 a week if I'm lucky. I'm not sure how that's gonna go, but this one I'm probably gonna post, and we'll see what happens. But thank you guys for watching, and I hope to see you guys soon.